I think we're going almost. There's a bit of a lag, about 20 seconds when nobody's quite sure what's going on, but I'm going to presume that we are live and we're ready to go. So good morning, everybody. It's Lana Hempsall here again, one of the Norwich Guide Dog Forum's coordinator. And this morning I have, this is super exciting for me because people who know me, I know I'm appointed to the Broads Authority in a separate life, but I get seasick in the bath and I don't really do boats. But with me today is Keith Sims, also known as Lofty, from the Visually Impaired Sailing Association. He's going to tell us all about sailing when you're visually impaired, because it's we had the Nancy Oldfield Trust on recently, didn't we, with all the opportunities that they offer visually impaired people and guide dog owners in terms of sailing, and disabled people generally anyway. But this is and that's on the Broads here in Norfolk. But Lofty is super brave and super impressive, because Lofty sails on seas. That's just incredible. So Lofty, over to you. Tell us more about yourself and how did you get into sailing?
Wow, first of all, it is an offshore sailing. It is offshore sailing. That's what we do. So we're not on a river, we're not on a lake. We actually sail offshore. And so the boats that we have are large sailing yachts with appropriate sized boat for the appropriate amount of people that want to sail at that time. And then we will go offshore and come back in a week's time.
Wow.
So that's different.
It is a big commitment. So how did you get into sailing? Was this
it was I basically gave up doing things because of my eyesight, namely driving a car, about 15 years ago. And I actually had some problems. I couldn't do a business anymore, and I basically sort of retired. I was quite fortunate in a number of ways, and I met up with a guy called Frosty. And well, yeah, so it's the sailing thing.
I didn't want to say.
So and he's totally blind, and he was a master yachtsman before he went blind. And he said, "Come along to Sailability." So I did. I started Sailability.
Oh, so it came through Sailability, did it? That's organised by whom?
Lots of Sailability things.
Okay, that's good.
They're all over the country, and if you want to start sailing, you can either come on direct to us, who never sailed before, or you could start off by maybe joining Sailability, and they go out for afternoons and mornings and things like that. Very good organisation. And then I saw an advert for sailing 1,000 miles from where do we go? From the Seychelles to I can't. It's 1,000 miles on the Nelson, which is part of the Royal. Why am I forgetting my words today?
That's right. You're allowed. I do the same. Yeah. So, but you said the key word Seychelles. That's one thing. Well, yeah, you know what's not to like already.
Well, that's right. And we did 1,000 miles on one of these very large boats, like a pirate ship.
Nice.
And yeah. And the pair of us were there with about 25 other people,
right?
And we were the only blind people on board.
Okay.
And that's how we started sailing. And then I got involved with this guy called Colin Fowler.
Okay, his nickname is
Colin.
Colin. I didn't want to derive anything from his surname. Let's put it that way. We did have a chat about this, didn't we?
he was the man who started VISA, the Visually Impaired Sailing Association. And he wanted to go sailing, and the people who started taking him sailing, he never got on with, because to them a blind person can't do anything. A blind person can't write. A blind person can't read. A blind person can't walk anywhere. A blind person can't do anything.
I know.
And that was the people he got sailing with.
Yeah, we're
And
a bit difficult like that, aren't we? Sometimes.
he was sat in the cockpit of the boat and told not to move and make sure he didn't trip, and make sure he didn't trip over anything.
Oh.
And I won't mention the organisations,
No, that's
but
not.
there's a couple. And he decided, let's do it. I'd set up my own organisation. And within a few months, he had chartered a big yacht, a 45-foot yacht. He had a friend of his who was a qualified skipper. I've just turned my television on. I just put my foot on something. Hang on. Let's turn that off. How did that come on? There you go. It's gone. Sorry about that. So he had a skipper and some other sighted people on board, and a friend of his, and they went sailing. And they hired the boat, chartered the boat for the month. For the week. And they went out a fantastic time and said, well, wouldn't it be nice if we can do this next week and the week after? Charter another boat, get a load of blind people involved. And generally, he came up with empowerment, encouragement, and enjoyment. Yeah. And that is what Visa is based on, is to encourage people to get out of their houses, to do something that's totally different, probably do something that they haven't done before, or they might think that they can't do it. But when you're on a Visa boat, you'll have people to encourage you to actually sail and empower you. And at the end of the week, you'll find that you've got friends for life, and you can't wait to go sailing again. I've done 7,000 miles on different yachts.
Wow.
In just about 12 years, it must be now. Which is it's quite a bit of sailing and not a lot of time. And I've been everywhere, and I've, as in the song, I've been everywhere, man. But I've sailed abroad. I've sailed, a lot in the UK, and it changed my life for the better. I'm not, believe it or not, I'm 6'4", and why I'm called.
Oh, that's hence the nickname, right?
Well, yeah, but the real thing is that the guy I do a lot of sailing with is 6'7".
Right. Okay.
And he calls me Lofty, of course. So that's a lot how that caught on. But it's the idea is that you will do everything on board the boat. You're there. All the visually impaired people. We don't have a team of visually impaired people and a team of sighted people. We have a crew for the boat. Some of that crew are sighted. Some of that crew have limited sight or no sight. All right, it makes no difference.
See, I always think of it that way, is that, if we all had the same level of sight, we would all be doing the same thing. There'd be no such thing as it's just this one thing that kind of separates us from the rest of society. And you think that how is that right? But bearing in mind what it brings with it in terms of loss of opportunity, which is kind of cumulative over your life, isn't it? It just seems ridiculous that just because one part of your body, I mean, you wouldn't not be allowed to sail if you had your little finger missing, would you? It's just it's just silly that there's one part of this beautiful structure that we are as in a human body that's not working, and then all of a sudden it's like your life is completely different to everybody else's. So
and it shouldn't be, and that's a lot of opinions, because people, it's like Woody like a cup of tea. You've heard that, have you?
Oh.
Yeah.
I think being spoken of in the third person is kind of one of my.
Yeah.
I love it. Do you know? I actually somebody suggested that I get myself a T-shirt that basically says "underestimate me," and then underneath it says "it'll be fun." And that's often how I feel about it. So, let's do it your way and then see how things work out. And you know, it will be fun because ultimately, I think, you know, when you raise awareness of you know who you really are, and you know what your world is like and what their world is, and that actually they're not that dissimilar, and that all that stands in between is just a little bit of teeny bit of prejudice, then you know then you know then you start to have a better dialogue, don't you? And everybody has a better experience of life, because actually I think it's not just our experience of life as visually impaired people, actually everybody's. It's, you know, we all, you know, live in society together, so you know, why not?
I should get you to meet Colin Fowler, because he started this, as they say, but
Yeah.
he's so determined, and he won't take any no's from anybody. You know, I can do anything, and he's proved that any blind person can sail as well as any sighted person. The only problem is you can't see where you're going, so you need
Yes.
you need certain information.
Yeah. I've got an iceberg moment coming on. Anyway, so so
That's the information you need with eyesight. That's why you never sail on your own.
no, I think that's probably what puts me off, is that sort of risk assessment side of it. Right. So
Well, there's no risk assessment side of
I
it.
know, I know, I
You're
know.
being prejudiced now. Come
Yeah,
on,
I know.
because
I know.
you're on the board. You're on board the boat with 3 sighted people, right?
Lovely.
And
Tell you what, as a result of
yeah,
this, I absolutely promise, like Pinky promise, that I'm going to do sailing again as an adult in this calendar year. I promise.
we
I will
we we have got 10 about. We got weeks and weeks and weeks of sailing next year. We can't do anything this year because of this odd virus thingy
I
that's going
know.
about.
I know.
But
I know.
next year we've got enough spaces for about 80. I think it's 84 people.
Mm. Oh
Okay,
wow.
and you can join any of those.
Can I even
And
I mean
anybody listening can join any of those opportunities.
really, do you
Yes.
apply? Like, so that was going to be my next question. So is this something
Okay.
that people
Well,
apply through the website, or
yeah.
is there a phone
Yeah.
number they can call,
Yeah.
or how does
Yeah.
this work?
Yeah. It all works exactly as you say. I've got a phone number.
Hmm.
We have a lady by the name of Sue Hogg.
Hmm.
She is our member secretary,
Hmm.
and she's vice chairman. Yeah, she's vice chairman,
Hmm.
and you can ring her,
Hmm.
and you can come onto the website, and you can go on to contact us. And all we want is your name, your email address, your telephone number,
Hmm.
and we will contact you if you give us some idea of what trip you'd like to do with us.
So you can literally rock up with no experience
Yes,
whatsoever, and that's
yes.
amazing.
We have certain trips that we do that we would like experienced people on.
Hmm.
And those ones we would say to you, could you not do that one? Because we'd be better off. We've got more sailors training on another trip. Could you do that one?
Okay, so which one would be
And
the novice ones? You know,
well,
just
the
out.
best one, this is the first time ever.
Mm.
We're the first organisation that's ever done this, is that we've been sponsored by the lottery
Hmm.
in June.
Hmm.
Remind me of the date is something like the 14th of June.
Yeah.
And we are being sponsored by the lottery for 3 weeks.
Hmm.
And all of those 3 weeks will be free of charge to anybody that
Oh my
wants to come and
goodness,
join us
that's
from
amazing.
anywhere in the country.
Wow. And
Right.
where does this sail from?
With this, we're actually sailing from Falmouth.
Hmm.
It's a long way to get to, but believe you me, I've sailed Falmouth every other year,
Yeah.
and lots of people travel. And that's
Yeah.
another organisation I'll tell you about. But
Yeah.
if you could travel,
Hmm.
but with other people, with maybe compatriots that would put you in touch with,
Hmm.
or if you're just prepared to get on a train and
Yeah.
take all of the headaches of travelling that far, and I've done it all over the world
Well,
and
I'm sure.
flown.
Yeah, I'm
Get
sure
down to
there's.
Cornwall, and then
Yeah, I'm
there's a
sure.
week in Cornwall, there's a week in Poole, and
Yeah.
then there's a week coming back.
Hmm.
So there's 3 weeks of sailing on the south coast, which will cost you nothing.
Oh, that's amazing.
I was
That's
given £10,000 by the lottery.
fabulous. That's
And
fabulous.
it's ideal for people like yourselves who want, and if you don't want to sail for a week, so again, the first time we've ever done it, each port we pull up in and moor the boat, we are going to take people out for day sails, or depending on the weather, maybe half a day sail. So you could rock up at 10 o'clock in the morning, have a cup of tea, and we'll go out sailing for a couple of hours and bring you back.
Wow.
Now, all those dates are on the website. All the dates.
Fantastic. Well, tell you, I'm definitely putting a link up for that one, because I think that's just an incredible opportunity, because
it's never been done before.
Well, and you know what? That I think that is so important, because I qualified as a physio, so that's why I'm trying to do this theme of sport and physical engagement this September, because I think, you know, mental health is such a key part of, you know, when you have a disability or an impairment of some description, just generally just the way you are treated on a day-to-day basis can actually bring on some really quite unpleasant, you know, self-esteem problems, mostly just self-esteem, and, you know, a sense of not belonging, sense of, you know, being an, you know, a lot of it gets carried with. And I think that physical activity and actually engaging with other people, which I feel is so important and so critical, and being part of a team, because that's another thing that you can't, you know, if you've been visually impaired over, you know, a number of years, including in school, then you're never really part of that team. You're never really part of that gang. You don't get that sense of, you know, cohesion and belonging that, you know, a lot of people grow up with, which is really critical to, you know, development of a human being. And I think nurturing that and fostering that in the environment that you do, I think it's just incredible. I mean, hats off to you. I think
I mean, there's a number of things when it comes to sailing, particularly. I don't know if you've ever driven a car, but it's a massive.
Don't tell the police or the DVLA that they object to it.
They get a bit miffed, don't they? But a lady has written an article on our website, and it says, "So blind people can't drive." Okay, read the article, and basically, she was given the steering wheel of a £300,000 boat. And that's what happens to you when you get on one of our boats. You will have the helm of the boat. You will be able to steer the boat. You'll be able to guide the boat. You'll be able to do every aspect of sailing that boat. Only with encouragement, only with people. But nobody will grab something out of your way. They will tell you how to do it. They will show you how to do it, and they will encourage you to carry on. And if you listen and you concentrate, you'll be able to do all of these things. Read it. It's called Blind People Can't Drive.
Can't drive.
You can drive a boat.
I'm guessing, you know, with a boat that size, you can really feel the size of it through the helmet. Is that right? I mean,
you need certain instruments, and those instruments aren't always audible. And one of the instruments is a compass. But we teach people to sail without a compass. So you can follow the wind on your face.
Wow.
You can feel the wind on the left or the right hand side of your face, and you'll pick it up. And if you're on a bearing, which happens to be 278, and you can feel that wind, you will not change from that 278. And I've had people thinking I'm looking at the compass, but I'm not. I'm doing it by the wind. And that's how you can sail. And there's lots of adaptations that we do on the boat. And there are things called an audible compass, which gives you a little bit of a bleep. It'll give you a bleep if you need to turn left, and give you a bleep if you need to turn right. And that's another accessibility that we have on board. But basically, the best accessibility on board is all the other people. Now, we will have 6 people on a boat who are visually impaired, from being totally blind to being, you know, a number 4 in sport or something. But it doesn't matter. But everybody's there to be as part of the main crew. You're part of the 9 people, but you happen to be visually impaired. And all the other people there will be, excuse the pun, in the same boat. They will all
Yes.
be there, and they will all be visually impaired.
I was
and they all
waiting for
won't be
that
able
one.
to
It was coming.
I think that's quite good for me. That and what it means that you're all together and you're never left on your own,
No.
and you'll be safer on a boat with 6 people than you would be in your own home.
Yeah,
And
I'm sure of that, and I presume the ladies don't just get squirreled down to the galley to do the cooking, right?
oh, definitely, yeah, definitely. That's all
Definitely
we.
yes,
That's all
or
we have.
definitely not. Because
We
I don't do-
are very proud to say we have 87 lady members of Visa. We've got 220 members, and we've got 87 ladies.
No.
One of our ladies is a lady called Sue, called Pip Hare, and she is an ocean-going racer, and she's doing the Vendée Globe this year.
Is she? Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Do you remember Ellen MacArthur?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well, Ellen
She
MacArthur
cried a bit.
Well, she was the first woman to do the Vendée Globe and come second,
Wow.
and she became a dame, and she's into sailing in a very big way. And Pip Hare has become our patron because she's a big name, and she may be the first woman to sail the Vendée Globe and win the race.
Wow.
Right? And she knows all about having to do all of the changes. She's not visually impaired. She's 20/20 vision, but she's a woman, and it's very, very hard to be a woman sailor. And that's why there have been more people walking on the moon than there have been women in the Vendée Globe.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that just that's because obviously where I live on the Broads and in Norfolk, there's a lot of sailing. All of my children learnt to sail. I've had the calls from the sailing club to like, can you please collect your son because he's got a broken nose after an encounter with the you try not to laugh when a child is knocked unconscious into the water backwards. Pulled up by the rescue boat. So, yeah, it did ruin his holiday somewhat because he couldn't do his paddy course after that with a broken nose. But never mind, that's a different story. So I'll tell you how that happened. He was on a 2-hander with his little sister, and as they were sailing across Whitlingham Broad, the wind changed at one point, so the boat that was ahead of them, the wind changed and they didn't catch it and capsized. So he was laughing at them, and then him and his sister came into the same wind change. He was busy laughing at the other boat, and the boom literally swung around and smacked him on the face because he wasn't paying any attention. It was just one of the most hilarious moments ever, with his sister going, I couldn't believe what happened. It was just so funny. And then the rescue boat sort of pulled him out.
A lot of that because it was a small dinghy. But on large yachts, I mean, both. It's like I'd sail with this guy Tim, who's 6. I don't know if he's 6'8" or 6'7". I think he's 6'7", and he's a big guy. And sometimes he can't always stand up below deck once you've got the cabin above you. But the boats are built so if you stay in the cockpit, you'll never get anywhere near the boom coming across. So that is not something that happens on large boats.
I'm sure it doesn't.
There's always people looking out for you, because there's these three people who are all qualified skippers, and they will always be there looking out for you.
So tell me, so sleeping quarters on these boats,
yes.
Is this the poetry of hammocks, or was this berths? So
it's berths.
It's berths.
And depending on who we've got, we would always like to put 2 ladies together in the same cabin.
Right.
If we've only got one cabin, we would ask her what she wants to do. And most people muck in. Everybody's in a sleeping bag, and everybody will share the accommodation. There's only one person on board that actually gets his own cabin. And or her own cabin, because we've got lady skippers as well. Is the skipper, because that is something that's tradition, and the skipper will always have the a cabin. And we've got a number of lady skippers sailing now, and they will actually take a boat out with blind people on board, and
Wow.
it's you will sleep together, you will eat together, you will drink together, you will cook together, and everybody has a little job to do. One day you might be cleaning, and after everybody's finished, you'll go around with the disinfectant wipes and things, and all the door handles, and keep the boat up. This is before COVID. I mean, we've always got to be clean on a boat because it's such a small area. And if you end up with something like a disease on a boat, you're not going to get off it for a while. So everything's got to be cleaned. So we have a crew. We have 2 people. They'll go around doing that for about half an hour, and that's their job for the day. And somebody else will be cooking that night time. So we have 2 people saying, "Well, what do you want to cook?" Well, what we got on the larder, and somebody said just do a curry. So somebody will put a curry together, and all 9 or 8 people will sit down around a table and eat a meal together. And that's just the social side of things. And on top of that, you've got to take part in sailing, because the boat won't sail without the people working on board.
No.
And you'll be told how to do all of those jobs on board. It changes your aspect. It's things that you think I'd never do. And also, age doesn't matter a great deal.
I was going to say part of that. I mean, because I presume
we're all old, and that's one of the problems with Visa. We're trying to actually put Visa together as a lower the age group. And we've now got people in their 20s and 30s and 40s, whereas originally we were in our 70s and 60s and 70s and 80s really. So we're desperately trying to lower our age group, and we've got people that sail with us that are in their 20s and 30s now, which is great, because we want every.
I'm sure that as part of what we're doing today as well, if you're putting that shout out, it's
definitely. You don't have to be young either, and you don't have to be experienced.
I mean, I presume you need to be sort of vaguely physically fit, right?
That was the catch I was coming round to. Thank you. Is that you need to be able to walk on a deck of a boat that's moving.
Okay.
So I'm afraid, I sailed with all sorts of disability people, people in wheelchairs and that sort of thing, but the boat's especially adapted, and we can't take wheelchairs. We need to have somebody that would be able to walk on a boat. When you change direction and tack, the boat's going to move and tilt at a fair degree of an angle, and then as you turn the corner and you'll flatten out, you're back to where you were. But you must be able to be sturdy on your feet.
Okay.
And that's the only restriction.
Okay.
I mean, and it's, that's only physical, because you've got to be able to stand up, but there are times, and there will be people there that will help somebody move from one side of the boat to the other, and things like that. And you just want to be stern enough to be able to walk around a moving boat, and it's a reasonably small thing, a 45-50 foot boat. And we've got to make sure that everybody's safe on board, and you just want to make sure that you can walk about a boat that's maybe moving. And that's all part of the experience that you have. And there'd be other blind people there with you to help you, and everybody will warn everybody that the boat's going to change direction. If you'll hear the calls from the person on the helm trying to bring a tack together, and then you'll hear all the commands, you'll know what's happening, and there'll be somebody with you to help you change from one direction or one seat to another.
Wow, that sounds really exciting. So 2 more questions. One is, where do you sail from? Because you said there's lots. You mentioned the 3-week one, but what places do you sail from? What other
3 weeks
sail from?
We're sailing next year, 2021, in Scotland, in Largs, and we're looking for people now. We're nearly full. I think we've got about 30 people. If there's anybody interested in sailing in Scotland, and you are responsible for getting yourself to Scotland.
Yeah.
Once you get to Scotland, you're part of. We've got 4 boats in Scotland, and we're going to go out as a fleet, and all the 4 boats will be together. So there'll be 30 blind people over 4 boats.
Oh.
And everywhere you stop, you'll be stopping on a pontoon, and somebody will have a pontoon party and invite your people on board dinner and all that sort of thing. And it's a very, very sociable time with lots of sort of serious sailing in the middle.
Okay. So Scotland's
a big one. All right, that's in May. And then we've got May, June. We've got the 3 weeks with the lottery money.
Yeah.
And that one's called Sea Vision 2021. And that's the free one. We're sailing around the Isle of Wight in the race, going around the island.
Wow.
But we're actually complete packed for that one. So we can't take any more people on there.
Oh no, it's just to give a flavour of where you go from and what you do. So
absolutely. And so that's and then the next one is Brighton. This year we're sailing in towards the end of May in Brighton. And that will be sailing across to France. And that's in a competition that's all done by disabled people. And it's all disabled boats. So we're going to put a blind boat in there for visa. And we're sailing across the channel in a race. It's a 1-day race across the channel, which is fantastic fun, which is absolutely brilliant. And in between times, we've got the boat for a week. So we'll be sailing for a few days in and around Brighton, and we'll be sailing for a few days in France. But we have to come back for the round the island race.
Yeah.
So that's another one that anybody could join. And again, it really that's another one that we wouldn't worry about people not being an ocean-going sailor. We will help and have people on board to help you out with that one. And then the end of the year, we're going to be sailing in Spain.
Oh, nice. Wow.
So we did it with 2 boats last year. We maybe have more this year. And what makes us do it is once we did it last year for a trial, and everybody loved it. The weather was foul. We had lots of rain. We went in October, but it was warm rain. It was a nice place, and we sailed to lots of lovely places, and that was all good. And so this year we're doing it again. Now, if we have 30 people turn up and say we want to go to Spain, we'll put 3 boats in Spain. And this is how we do it.
Sounds amazing. I'll tell you what, I'll definitely be there. If you ever go to the Adriatic, that's another beautiful place, but it's so rocky that you definitely need people who can ski. Right, Lofty. So one of the things that you do, just finally before I have to say bye to you, is you do, obviously, you do a lot of fundraising, don't you? That's one of your roles with Visa. So is there, how much do you have to fundraise to keep yourself going, and who do you rely on for
Right. Well, there's a number of people that have helped us over recent years. We only decided to go bigger because what we used to do was a self-funding boat. When it started off, Colin Fowler, a few of his friends on the boat, everybody paid towards the whole thing. A boat's expensive to charter. A boat can cost you £2,000 for 1 week. And that cost has got to be covered somehow. Quite often, and the normal thing would be to ask each participant to pay somewhere between £200 and £300. Now, which is a lot of money, but not for sailing.
Well,
it
is, yeah.
And also, so what we try to do is we try to sneak in funding and lower the cost. And if people are having particular problems with finance, but they'd love to go sailing, talk to us. And we might be able to do something to encourage them to sail.
Given me an idea. You have just given me an idea. I think Norwich Guide Dog Forum and I'm going to put this on Scott, definitely.
Oh, he
Norwich
won't
Guide Dog
come.
Forum. Won't he? Oh, I
No.
think he might. We'll do a fundraiser sailing. So,
Yes.
because I think, as I said, everybody who knows me knows that this would be
Scott comes
challenging
up
for
with
me.
every excuse. He's always got something else on.
Well,
Occasionally,
well,
he has had
perhaps,
something else on.
perhaps if we do it as a fundraising exercise, I'm going to get us to do a week sailing and see how that goes. Right, just watch this space. I think
All
it
right,
should be done because
it could well work. And if people had sponsorship from their friends and family, all we'd be looking for to put that person on the boat would be 250, maybe depending if it's in Spain, it's going to cost more. But in the UK, we would be looking for something like 250 to £300 to put that person on a boat.
I
And
think we
then you
might do
could
something like that ourselves. I think that
and
sounds really
you
good.
could do all sorts of activities, but the actual trip for somebody to come onto a visa organized trip is 250 to £300, and that would cover your food, your accommodation, all your all the sleeping arrangements, all of your all of the food, all of the drink, etc. Not alcohol. Alcohol's a bit of a strange thing on a boat. Depends on the skipper, and generally we try to keep a boat as a dry boat. But everybody, you go ashore. Most evenings you'll go ashore. If it's a load of new people, we'll go ashore nearly every night. But once you've got people who like sailing and they're really into it, we're more on a buoy, and we're more offshore. And it's wonderful being offshore with the boat rocking away, and you've got your anchor down, and you sing a few sea shanties and
Oh, singing, brilliant, brilliant. Yes. Oh my God, Lofty, tell you what. I mean, there's just
you're coming. No, you're coming.
I think I actually am. I think I actually am.
We will go through all the ones that I would recommend for you to do.
Yeah.
And there's at least 2 that you should do. Have you ever been to Scotland?
I have, but Scotland and I have got a bit of a pact, I'm afraid, in that my maiden surname is McDowell, and as the story goes, this is an urban legend that runs through the family. Lofty, I'm going to bore you to death with this one, but however, anyway, so the McDowells apparently, and I will stand corrected by anybody watching this, by all means, but the McDowells were border reavers, and they were done as a clan. They were done for either rustling sheep or selling it on, one of those. And they were
not rape and pillage then.
But no. But, I think for something as serious as that. Anyway, it was one of those crimes. But they got thrown out of Scotland apparently, but got to keep their tartan. They got to keep the muck, and they got to keep their clan emblem. You won't find it in any of the souvenir shops because it's a bit niche. But so it's still there. So a few years ago, my husband said, "Oh, because we like to take the children around, so this year we went to Cornwall, we've been to Wales, so we take them to different parts of the country. And this particular year, it was Scotland's turn, and we stayed up in the Highlands somewhere, and then we stayed on the Isle of Skye. And then to make it even more interested, we stayed on the Isle of Scalpay, which is a little island off Skye. And let's put it this way, between the midges and the rain and more rain and getting stuck in a bog, I have decided to honour that ancient ruling that banned myself and the family
Scotland.
from ever returning.
Yeah, but you see, on the water,
And
you
I will.
don't have to struggle with bogs and things like that. You're on a
Clearly not.
nice boat. The weather can be foul. We went,
Yes.
Visa went to Scotland in 2013. We had 50 people on 5 boats, I think, that time. 50
Yes.
blind people in one place sailing in
Yes.
Scotland. The weather was foul. Everybody got wet and cold.
Yes.
And at the end of the week, we said, "You up for it next year?" And everybody wanted to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was amazing.
Bogs, that'll be fine, and midges I'm not partial to either, but there's that I'm definitely coming. I'm definitely coming. It just has
Well,
to
you
be
are.
done now.
You
So
are. I'll be talking to you very shortly, and we will start
yeah,
talking about which one you'd like to come on.
yes,
But I just want to make sure that everybody realises that if they go onto the website or use my telephone number
mm,
or the lady I sent you the number for Sue Hogg, just ring us and ask us any questions you want.
yeah,
You'll find us very open and wanting to talk to people,
yeah,
and there's no cost for membership.
yeah,
It's a free membership, and we're trying to get our membership a lot more involved when we're not sailing,
mm,
because we haven't sailed this year,
mm.
and we're not going to be
Oh
sailing until next year. Is that your timer?
no, that's not my timer. That's the
Dinner's
fire
ready.
alarm going off. No, that's my burglar alarm going off. So right. I think on that note, Lofty,
So
I'm
just
going to
give us a
say.
ring. Give
Yeah,
us a
I'm going to
ring.
say thank you. What I will do is I will either put the link to your website either on the header or footer or somewhere along here so that
Cool.
people know where to find you. I mean, it just seems like, especially the 3-week trip seems like an amazing opportunity that simply can't be missed. And I just,
I will just do a slight correction. That's 3 weeks of either half day sail, so you
Mhm,
could turn up for half a day only,
mm,
or you could turn up for a whole week sailing.
yeah. Oh,
And there's
it'll
three
all be
weeks.
on the website.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it just seems like and especially if you've managed to get all this funding in place, and if it is free, it's just yeah. No,
It'll cost you getting there and getting back, and that's what it'll cost.
so,
Other
but I
than
think the
that, once you're on the
experience,
boat
yeah, I think
you're there in sailing and helming,
yeah,
and it's a wonderful, wonderful experience. And the people you'll meet, and the people you'll work with, and the people you will encourage you, and everybody's there with a disability. You're all visually impaired in some way, and all of the guys there to help you. And you'll have a fantastic week, and you'll do every aspect to sailing,
I know.
from cooking the boat to helming the boat, everything in between.
I know. I can see my friends here on the boards laughing at me already. Going, yeah, Lana, who
We'll teach you how to cook.
Oh,
We got a
really?
guy on board.
Really? Because
Yeah.
my husband would be grateful for that one. I always say I don't do catering.
Is that when you use the white stick card? Is it? Is that when you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm blind, I can't do that."
No, I can't. I can cook. He's just better at it, and he likes doing it. That's all. Don't get me wrong. I can. It's just yeah.
The little thing I'll leave you with is this guy Colin Fowler. I was on a boat where he cooked for 9 people, and he cooked a full roast dinner with a joint of lamb, roast potatoes, and vegetables. He did it on his own while everybody else was up top enjoying themselves. He stayed below and he cooked a whole roast dinner, and it's never been done before. And also, the roast dinner, it's amazing. You got 2 rings. That's all you got on a boat. And he's totally blind, and he wouldn't let us peel a carrot.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's
True story.
I think that might be a challenge I might not be able to rise to. I'm just saying.
No,
I know my limits.
And also, there's no room as well. You can't have any more people than 2. But those sorts of things can be done. But yes, it's all part of the enjoyment of actually doing everything. You'll be given lots of responsibilities, and you can do as much or as little as you want to. You just
yeah, Keith. Look, I mean, I get to go shopping first, right? For clothes that I need to go.
Yeah, well, we can advise you, and we do have a certain amount of clothing that we can loan out as well. And you can spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds, or you can buy things like cycling gear that keep dry from a second-hand shop, and anything in between.
Right.
Most sensible people will buy things from second-hand shops that are, but shoes. You need a good pair of shoes. But you can buy a good pair of deck shoes. They're like plimsolls, aren't they? That's all. And you need a good pair of them, and you can get those from a second-hand shop. Or you'll get somebody like Ellen MacArthur going out, and she would have spent about £2,000 on her equipment. Keep an eye on that website. Keep an eye on that website.
Definitely.
She leaves in November.
definitely.
And we're hoping she's going to be Dame Pip Hair at the end of it.
I'm sure she will. There's, yeah, there's an appetite for that, isn't there? Right. Lovely. I'm going to say thank you so much for joining me today. This has been so much fun. I
Good.
really, really, really have enjoyed it. And yes, it's quite clearly next year it's going to be life-changing for me as well.
We want lots of people to turn up, give us a phone call, turn up and come sailing.
Yeah,
we're offering
definitely.
this free sailing trip. It's over 3 weeks. Just come and join us for half a day, or come and join us for a week.
Definitely.
All right?
Definitely. Right, Lofty, thank you so much for that. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in today to
absolutely.
watch us. And you know, just I hope that you can take away from this and you know, that the experience of, you know, being out on the water, it's all about, I suppose it's three-dimensional engagement, isn't it, with nature, you know, in a way that's really safe, that's really enjoyable, and it's with other people, which is so
you know where the
important,
boundaries are. You know where the boundaries are. It's not like walking down a road with a cane. You don't know what cane's going to hit next.
Yeah,
Could be a car, could be a push bike coming the other way.
yes,
On a boat,
yes,
you get none of that.
yes.
We do not use our white sticks until we have to go down the pontoon to leave.
I know.
And
That's
you'll see all these blind people will park a big boat. I'll be on the helm. Somebody else will be doing this. Somebody else will be doing that. We'll pull a big boat into the helm, into the marina, and then we'll all walk down the pontoon with a load of white sticks, and people just can't believe what they're saying.
Oh, definitely. And yeah, I think I might ask for a GoPro for Christmas as well, because I think this is going to have to be recorded when I do this. So, right. Keith, Lofty, thank you so much. And yeah, I'll hopefully meet you in person next year when I come out sailing with you guys. So, yeah, so from me, Lana Hempsall and the Norwich Guide Dog Forum, it's thank you so much, and thank you to everybody who's watched today, and we'll hopefully catch you next week as well. I've got a few interesting guests coming up, which will be amazing. So September, we're hoping to sort of base around sports and physical activity. So yeah, just keep your eyes open for who we've got on next week. So yeah, thanks Keith, and thanks everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye now.
Bye.